Hello everyone, Ishani here and we are celebrating Crafty Meraki's gorgeous release with a fun YouTube hop, and we are giving away two prizes of $100 gift certificate each, which can be redeemed towards Crafty Meraki Products. So let's go ahead and check out what I have for you today. For all my cards today, I'll be using the same stamp set, Be Your Own Kind of Cupcake, which has been released in the new release. The stamp set has beautiful sentiments that go perfectly with the beautiful cupcakes. This set also comes with coordinating dies, and I'll be using various techniques to give you ideas for the same set, or these techniques can be used with other stamps too. Also, I have here on my right cupcakes that I've colored with Copics. On the left are the ones which I've colored with watercolors. You can use any medium that you like. I wanted to focus on the stamped images that we have, and we often color them for like daily marker or just like that, and how we have the images but then we don't have ideas to how to use them on a card. So my video will focus on such techniques where you have your colored images but do not know how to go ahead and make it into a card. I'll start with a clean and simple card. When you have an image where you have already colored, just pick one of the colors of your colored image and use it for your background. So here I have three colors, yellow, green and blue, and I am taking a light green colored cardstock for my background. This will instantly brighten up the card. Now that the background is ready, I just have to choose the right sentiment, and I don't want to get a long sentiment beneath the cupcake, so I think I'll go ahead with birthday wishes. And you could stamp it on a strip of paper and adhere it on the cardstock, but I want to stamp it with Versamark and heat emboss it with white embossing powder. Before I stamp my sentiment, I treat my cardstock with anti-static powder so that the stray embossing powder does not stick onto my colored card base. And I adhere my cupcake with 3D foam tape. And now, because it's a birthday card, how can we not have some sparkle on it? So I'm using the Sunny Sparkle Illusions from the latest release and jazzing up my clean and simple card with some bling. Next time you have pre-colored images, just remember, pick one of the colors. You could use a colored cardstock, you could ink smoosh one of the colors, you could also use a pattern paper or make your own alcohol ink colored background. It's just picking up one of the colors and making the whole card come together as if you did everything together at one go. I hope you like this card. Let's go ahead and see the second card. How can we have cupcakes and not have balloons? Let's do a very fun technique for this card with tone-on-tone stenciling. I'm using birthday balloon stencil for this. I plan to use only 1/3 of my card for my background. You could do a full panel of the same background too. For this card, I adhere washi tape at the 1/3 mark of my card. And I'm taking the stress oxides in two colors, one light pink and one darker pink. The other one is light purple and a dark purple. You could use any color, just you need two shades of the same color. If you do not have light and dark, you could also use a light application of the first color and then go heavy hand with the same color to get variation for the tone on tone effect. Here I start with light pink, and then for the other half of the paper I am blending a light purple, trying to get a seamless background. Then I add my stencil over the light background, and with the darker colors I stencil my balloons. I must admit that this is one technique that I love, but I often forget when I am stenciling, but it gives a great background for any image. I gently remove the washi tape, and oh, I have some ink on my white part. So I get my sand eraser and erase off the color. If it were a watercolor paper, I would have been successful in removing the distress oxide color with wet brush and some water and blot it up with some tissue paper. But because this is not watercolor paper, I am using the eraser. I take a pink cardstock and stamp my sentiment in black ink and emboss it with clear embossing powder. I will later on cut it into a strip and make some fishtail banner for my card. This will be my sentiment. You could also stamp straight away on the cardstock, but I thought I would do this. On a top folding purple cardstock, I adhere my stenciled panel, and with glue I adhere first my cupcake and then I foam mount my sentiment strip. And no birthday card should be without any sparkles, so for that I'm using some prismatic purple illusion sparkles by Crafty Meraki. And if you've not had a look at the amazing sparkle illusion collection by Crafty Meraki, then you have to check them out at the shop that I have linked in the description below. So here again we have another clean and simple card using the image that we colored earlier. Here also, if you notice, I have used the colors that were there on my cupcake. I had some sweet treats in pink and purple that I have used for my busy background. Also, you can choose a complementary color for the background too. It's all up to you. I hope you like this card. For my next card also I'm going to use balloons, but this time they will be in the form of a die. This card will be a mini slimline card, so I take an appropriate size white card base on which I am going to do some ink blending. I'm giving you tips on what color to use for the background, but I must tell you that I also sometimes get stuck for which color to use. But for that I have another way out. When you don't know what colors to use for the background, go for the rainbow. I'm using distress oxides in blue, yellow, pink and purple. You could use the colors that you have. You can use all the 7 colors of the rainbow too. But I like to mix the 2 colors and get a third one in between. Because the camera was moving a lot, I'll just skip the part of ink blending so that it does not irritate you much. Then I take party balloon dies, which are the mini slimline dies by Crafty Meraki, and I'm going to cut out a white cardstock with it. And with light hand I'm going to ink blend the same colors on it. The green looks a little different from what I have in my background card, so I'll go ahead and take out my distress oxide ink in green and then ink blend the green color on my die cut. After that I take glue and I adhere my die cut on this background to give a beautiful texture and a little tone on tone effect for the background. Now with the background ready, I will first get my sentiment done. I have a small strip of colored purplish blue indigo cardstock that was cut off from my main panel, on which I am going to stamp birthday wishes with Versamark and emboss it with white embossing powder. For mounting my cupcake, I realized I need something that will be a little transition from the colorful background and the cupcake, so I am taking a vellum piece and I die cut it with Pinkfresh Studio oval die. So when you cut vellum, if it is lightweight, it will curl up, for which I take a bone folder and run across on the back side of my die cut with the bone folder, and with the help of applying pressure like this, it will now lay relatively flatter. Now it's time to assemble the card. I adhere my cupcake to the vellum with double-sided tape, and with glue I adhere this vellum piece onto my balloon panel. For the sentiment I'm using 3D foam tape. And what next? Just before we say we are done, we have to add the sparkles. I'm adding Crafty Meraki's Sparkle Blue Illusion, and this time I'm doing a little different way of adding my sparkles. Because it's a mini slimline and I have length across, so I add my sparkles like this. And here is a mini slimline card which had a chocolatey cupcake, but we added beautiful rainbow colors to make a bright and beautiful card for the birthday. Let's go ahead and see what I have next for you. Now that we have done a lot of exercise with ink blending, it's time to relax. Let's do a relaxing technique. We are doing resist technique with watercolors. I have taken watercolor paper, and with the 2 cupcakes that I have here, I'm going to do repetitive stamping with Versamark. I use anti-static powder before I stamp my images, and after stamping with Versamark, I use white embossing powder over it, which I'm going to heat set. After heat setting my images, it's time to do the resist technique with watercolors. I have taken 2 colors. I've taken yellow and light orange. I just dilute it with water, and for an ombre look, I go from dark to light. The orangish yellow at the bottom and the lighter yellow above. After the panel is dried, I adhere it with double-sided tape on a top folding white cardstock. And the reason I chose the yellow and orange for the background was the cupcakes that I wanted to use had liners in yellow and purple. Now yellow is exact the same color and purple is complementary to yellow, so this was the reason that I chose this color. So you could use the same color like we did the first card, or you could also use a complementary color so that your cupcake stands out more. And the same principle can be adopted for a critter or a flower, for any background that you want and you have pre-colored images. Isn't it an easy way to make your backgrounds now? For the sentiment, I went ahead and stamped on a black strip of paper, sprinkling you with birthday wishes. Both of these strips will go on top and bottom, and corresponding to it will be my cute cupcake. And once again, some sparkles along with the cupcakes. I'm using Sunny Sparkle Illusions again for this card, and here is my finished card. I hope you like this bright, pretty card, perfect for your girlfriends. One more last card with one more technique. If you're enjoying my video, I would love if you'd give a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. And also don't forget to check the playlist for amazing new techniques that you can use for your cards. For the last card, I'm going to use this beautiful heart from the Love Note die. This is also from the latest release, and you can make some cute notes that you can use for your kids, for their tiffins, and great ideas for your spouse. I have this card that I made with the same Love Note dies. I'm just going to use the heart die from this, and I'm going to cut out a window from my white colored cardstock like so, and this window will become a shaker heart. I'm also going to add some texture with this beautiful Parisian paradise. So I take the die cut negative and I'm going to emboss it with this beautiful design of the A2 sized background die. I run it through my die cutting machine, and here is a beautiful texture on this white colored cardstock. And now this will be our front panel for a beautiful window card. I want to stamp my sentiment inside the heart. For that, I have taken a scale and I want to just align it in a way that my sentiment is not crooked. Also, the sentiment that I want to stamp is a little long, so I will stamp it twice so that I get a little sentence on the top and the rest of it at the bottom. I use anti-static powder, and first I stamp the first half of the sentiment. I use a little scrap paper to cover the area that I didn't want Versamark on, and then I stamp the sentiment on the top line. The bottom part of the sentiment will also be stamped in a similar way. And then I use white embossing powder and heat set my sentiment. To create the shaker window, I first use double-sided tape just behind my heart and use an acetate to cover the heart. Then to create a well to put my shaker bits, I take foam tape and I go across the heart and then all over the panel with my foam tape. I also use a little anti-static powder around the edges of my double-sided tape so that my shaker bits do not adhere to them and like they're not moving at all when I'm shaking it. To make a well, I use the dye, and these are some cute sprinkles that I put in as my shaker bits. I collect them in the center, and then I put my acetate window over it. And here is a beautiful shaker card ready. But I don't want just the shaker card. I want to also use my cupcake and also use another cute critter from the new release. I'm taking this gnome from the Romeo and Juliet stamp set, which is also from this release, and I'm going to color it with my Copic markers. I'm just going to show a quick coloring of my gnome because I skipped all the coloring of the cupcakes, but I thought I'll just go ahead and quickly show you how I colored this gnome. These critters are so cute. I would love to use them more on my cards, but here I thought I would combine them with my cupcakes. Why not use two different stamp sets and put them together for a cute card? So this card has a critter, the cupcake, a shaker card, and a lot of die cutting too. The colors I've used for the gnome are mentioned in my blog post, which is linked in the description box if you'd like to check. So I assembled my gnome and a cupcake in a way that it seems that the gnome is hiding behind the cupcake and coming to surprise you. Happy birthday! I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to check the next video and also leave a comment below for your chance to win the $100 gift certificate from Crafty Meraki. I hope you enjoyed all the cards and would incorporate the techniques for your cards. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.